Hey everyone, this is Nick and I am decidedly unqualified to talk about smart homes. Why? Because I live in a decidedly dumb apartment where nothing is connected to anything. No controllable LEDs in the sunroom, hand-cranked window blinds, dumb basic thermostat, cool intercom from the 70s, no voice assistant or smart speaker to be seen. But as a matter of fact, this is by choice, because the smart home is a security and privacy nightmare. So let's look at why a smart home might actually be a dumb idea. Unlike this clever segue to today's sponsor. This video is sponsored by Safing. Safing makes the Portmaster an open source tool to take back control of your internet connection. It's free of charge and it lets you see every connection every application makes. And it lets you act on these connections by blocking ads and trackers, malware, not safe for work stuff, or scams, with auto-blocking capabilities and even the ability to use a DNS provider of your choice. You can, of course, create your own rules globally or per application. Portmaster is available as a deb or an RPM package, it's in the AUR, or you can also install it on Windows. Using it is free of charge and they have paid tiers starting at €3 per month to support the development or €9.9 per month if you want the total package, including the SPN, which is a VPN on steroids that uses a different IP address for every connection, so you're truly impossible to track. So click the link in the description to download the Portmaster. Now, on the surface, I absolutely understand why you would want to live in a smart home. Like preheating your house 15 minutes before you come home from work, or opening your door while you're in the garden for a friend, or just automatically raising your window blinds when you wake up. And I can even understand really dumb stuff, like not getting off the couch to turn lights on or off, or your fridge telling you to buy milk, or your vacuum robot alerting you it needs a filter change, or a connected video doorbell to know who's at the door even though you're not home. I get why people would want to include all of that in their lives, just like with any other technology. It saves time, it's convenient, it removes a few actions or decisions to make every day, and it lets you focus on what you really want to do. Like snooze all this automation and get back to sleep. But the smart home doesn't only have advantages. With every device you connect to the internet comes a risk for your security and also a risk for your privacy. Now, we all know that smartphones are also a privacy nightmare in a lot of cases. They can send tens of megabytes of data on us every day to Google or Apple, our location, our habits. But that's something that mainly stays in your pocket or on your desk. Your smart home appliances, they're in your home all the time. They have cameras and microphones and motion detectors, and they can map your house and know who is in which room, who goes where, who was naughty and who was nice, and wait, no, that's Santa. But still, there are a lot of problems with having a smart home. The more obvious threat is to your home security and to who inhabits that home. All that data these appliances collect is generally passed on to the manufacturer of the appliance. Most of them use a cloud service to store data, to automate actions, to interact with the device through a smartphone. Very rarely will these devices only run through your local network. They mostly all use a cloud server that you don't own and don't have access to. But while you can't, hackers definitely do have access to your data if they want to. Look at EUFY, the smart camera system that proclaimed everything was local and not in the cloud. Turns out they lied, and they used the cloud, and their server had basically zero security, so everyone could see the feed from any camera if they brute forced it until they landed on the right ID. In March 2021, hackers breached the server for security cameras, gaining access to live feeds for hospitals, women's health clinics, prisons, police departments, and even schools. Tesla was also affected, and it revealed the bad working conditions in one of their factories. And that's security cameras, something you might expect to be harder to access than individual appliances. Alexa speakers were also hacked, with malicious actors getting access to banking details, voice search history, and even access to the various skills and commands you could ask Alexa. Or, still from Amazon, their Ring range of devices was also easily hacked, showing fake videos to connected doorbell owners to let strangers in when they thought it was their friends, stealing their Wi-Fi passwords, or even communicating through the smart cameras. In a specific case, a hacker actually talked to an 8-year-old kid through the security camera after spying on the kid. Now, if that doesn't creep you out, you're probably one of these people. I'm just a regular person, bruh. I got nothing to hide, bruh. And if the bruh didn't give it away, this stance is really dumb. First, hackers wouldn't just access your smart home appliances. They would access all the appliances from the same manufacturer who are using the same cloud server they just hacked. Second, this data is a treasure trove for anyone who might want to know when you're not home and rob you, or use that data to impersonate you, or mimic your voice, get your banking information, anything really. They could even have a full map of your house, thanks to your robot vacuum, which diligently created that map for them. Amazon bought iRobot for that exact purpose. They don't care about your clean floors, they care about the map to your house, to know what changes if you're redoing your kitchens or turning your office into a nursery, so they can sell you more stuff preemptively. And then there's the privacy. But this time, the people who benefit from it are the companies that sold you the appliances. Most companies that make smart home appliances don't care about the smart home. They care about the data these appliances can give them and how they can sell access to that data to advertisers. Google didn't buy Nest because they love keeping your home at the right temperature. They want that data to be added to their already huge user profiles. Comcast and AT&T are also getting into the smart home business. Do you trust these companies with your data? I wouldn't. Basically, if you buy a smart home appliance that connects to the cloud, chances are the manufacturer is more interested in the data they can gather and resell than the smart home appliance at all. They will make more money from that data than from the cheap smart home camera or doorbell that they could sell you. And again, why would that matter? We're already giving away most of our data to Google, Apple, Meta, Microsoft, and a lot of others. What does it matter if it also goes to some smart home appliance company? And at first glance, it doesn't. It's just a little bit more data about you floating around that is going to be used to sell you targeted ads. But it's not just data about you, is it? It's data about your home and everyone who lives in it. Your significant other, your kids, your visiting friends, cousins, family. As long as they stay in your house, that data is also going to the company who made your appliances. So you're basically subjecting anyone who visits you to data collection they are not aware of, while they feel safe in the privacy of your home. But the main reason you probably should care is because that data isn't going away, and it is available to any government that has laws that gives it access to. In the US, the government very frequently requests data about users, and has done so for years. Now your smart home data is going to be included in that. In China, all this data can be used towards your social credit score that can literally get you fired, have your citizen rights revoked, or prevent you from renting or buying a house. You told a joke comparing the Prime Minister to Winnie the Pooh? Welcome to prison! And in any other country, a very quick law change could give access to law enforcement agencies to all of your live feeds of your cameras in your house if they decided they needed it for any inquiry. And if you're thinking that you have nothing to hide, you do. Or you will. I explained why in this video up here, or in the description down there. Now, of course, you can set up a smart home without using cloud-based products. There's a very cool thing called Home Assistant. It's open source, it can run on something as small as a Raspberry Pi, you can self-host it, and all the data stays on your local network, where it's not 100% safe, but it's still way safer than being on the open internet. Home Assistant integrates with tons and tons of services like HomeKit, Alexa, Google Assistant, Zigbee, Philips Hue, Samsung SmartThings, Google Cast, Z-Wave, and more. And they will probably also support the Matter standard when that thing is available, which will probably unify all these things. But Home Assistant isn't perfect. First, out of the box, it's local only, so no controlling your stuff when you're not on your own Wi-Fi network. You can solve that using Home Assistant Cloud, and this serves as a messenger between your home and the various cloud services you might use. And this cloud doesn't store anything, so at least it isn't super susceptible to attack, although someone could hack the server and listen to everything that is being passed on in there. But guess what? If you use that, you're still using other cloud services, like a voice assistant, for example, to communicate with Home Assistant. And that means your data still goes to a third party, for example Amazon if you use Alexa to talk to your Home Assistant. All the devices you're using also will still phone home to their respective companies. Only your Home Assistant hub will be fully private, which means you have to pick smart home appliances that don't use the cloud and that are compatible with Home Assistant. And this is probably why Home Assistant will never catch on for the general public. Why would you want to go through all that trouble to make that stuff work and host it yourself when your Samsung TV is already a smart home hub or your Apple TV? But the trade-off is that you're putting all your data on servers you don't control at all. And it's not just browsing data here. It's direct live feeds of your home. People who ring your doorbell or just walk in front of your door, a map of your house, recordings of your kids. That data is then used to sell you products, but can also be hacked by malicious actors. It can be leaked or accessed by employees or given to governments to use against you. Depending on who controls your government at any given point, your political beliefs, your religious beliefs, your sexual orientation, your gender, this is a massive issue. And this is why my house is a dumb house and not a smart house. Until I'm confident that everything I want to do in my house will be Home Assistant compatible and will not talk to any cloud service, then my window blinds will stay hand cranked. My doorbell will say stupid and my thermostat will only work when I actually touch it. So basically, it's the same as everything else. If you want to stay private, you have to work extra hard. Except in this case, it's not just a few browsing data and the websites you visit. It's your own personal life in your own personal house with your family and your friends being affected as well. It is way worse. So yes, it is more work, but it's probably also really worth it to spend that extra time to stay private for your smart home. Or you could just get off your ass and actually trigger the light switch to turn on your lights. It also works. Exactly like today's sponsor! If you need a new device to run Linux on, stop buying Windows devices and replacing Windows with Linux. Buy a device that's been made to run Linux from Tuxedo, today's sponsor. They have a big range from small ultrabooks to NUCs to gaming workstations to laptop to gaming laptops. Everything you might want. And you can open them, repair them, upgrade them. You can have your own custom keyboard layout laser etched on your laptop. Or your own logo laser etched on the lid of your laptop. Or you can have no logo at all if you prefer. You can have a super key of your choosing with a Tux logo or Linux logo. They're very customizable and they're all available through the link in the description below. So if you need a new device to run Linux on, check them out. They're really good. So, thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, don't hesitate to like, to subscribe, to turn on notifications, to write a comment. And if you didn't like it, the dislike button still works. And you can tell me in the comments as well why you think this video sucked. And if you want to support the channel, there's a super thanks button underneath this YouTube video. There's a PayPal link in the description. And there are links to my Patreon memberships and YouTube memberships. Both of these members get access to a weekly podcast on Mondays, and also the right to vote on the next topics that I'll cover on the channel. So check those links out if you're interested. And in the meantime, thanks for watching, and I guess you'll see me in the next one. Bye!